Hey y'all, Nova here. The BattleBit devs just released update 1.8.1. This update does not include the map or the fan favorite game mode. Those should be coming next weekend. However, it does include a bunch of awesome changes. So starting out, they added a thing called party codes. So now there will be a party code in-game that you can share with your friends and they can all join your party. Basically, it means you don't have to add everyone as Steam friends, which is really nice, especially if you're playing with new people and you don't want to just add a bunch of random people that you may never play again with. This is especially important for Twitch streamers, YouTube streamers, me. It's actually very helpful because, up until now, I've just been adding every single person that I play with as a Steam friend. And while I am all very friendly, I don't want to have my entire friends list full. So this is a wonderful change, and honestly, it just makes it easier for everyone, not only streamers. It's just a good change in general. So that is an awesome change. Next, they added a report player shortcut. So if someone's being awful in the voice chat, you can hold left shift and then hit F1 or F2 or F3, and it'll bring up a report menu for the respective player without having to go to the scoreboard. This makes it a lot easier to report players for abusive behavior, and I'd say that generally the easier they make it, the more reports will come in that are good, because even if a player is being abusive, you don't want to hear them, most likely what you did before is you probably just muted them, and you probably didn't report them because reporting them takes a lot of effort. You have to go find their name in the scoreboard, and that's not your job. You just want to play the game, right? So that's a wonderful change. It just makes it easier for people to report people, so great change right there. Next, they actually talked about this a couple weeks ago in their dev recap number 2, but they added stat sync protection. So basically there was a rare case where a player's progress would reset when they joined a new server before their progress was able to update with the dev's database, and basically they fixed this by making it so that the game server will no longer let a player join if it fails to fetch their stats. Additionally, the backend will no longer accept saving stats of a player if their rank is less than it was before, which also solves this issue. So great changes there. I'm glad that they're fixing things like this. Obviously they said it was a rare case, so probably didn't affect too many people, but for the people it did, losing your progression, there's nothing more frustrating, so I'm glad that they made that change. Next, they changed objective capture zones. They reduced the sizes by either 50 or 75% of their original size. That's pretty crazy. It's not in all areas, they said in some areas, but I believe that this will make the user experience better just because it'll be easier to see where the different capture zones are. And before it was hard because you couldn't spawn on capture zones because there was almost always an enemy in the capture zone, and now this should make it a lot easier to spawn in because there's a smaller area that the enemies could be in. So if your team has control of this capture zone, they can go through, clear the area, and make sure that the enemy can't just be there and keep you from ever spawning on a point that theoretically should be yours. Next, we got to gadgets, so specifically C4s, mines, and claymores. So they made it so that players will now have a limited amount of C4s, mines, and claymores, ammo kits, etc. that can be placed at the same time. C4s will be destroyed when a player dies, and a maximum of 6 can be placed. If you place down a 7th C4, the first one will be destroyed to maintain a total of 6. This mainly affects people who would die and then respawn to put down more C4s, or, specifically support who could get their C4s back as well. So now claymores and mines will not be destroyed when a player dies. However, only 4 can be placed at a time. This is so nice. There were so many claymores down everywhere. This is a wonderful change. Personally, I didn't find the claymores too annoying because I always ran C4, so I could always just, if you see those lines from the claymores, you can just throw down a C4, explode it. It wasn't really a big deal. You can also shoot the claymores. Honestly, I think people overblew it just a little bit because they're easy to jump over, easy to dodge. You can explode them with C4. As long as you're paying attention, I maybe got killed by a claymore once or twice, like during a live stream per day. It really wasn't that bad, but people were in a big fuss about it. So good change on their part. I'm glad to see the devs are listening to the community. Again, I don't think it was as big of a deal as people said it was though. Next, they have some map changes and bug fixes. Domination, reviving players will no longer return tickets. I'm not exactly sure whether this means, obviously, so as it says, reviving players will no longer return tickets. What I don't know is if a player died multiple times, did that make them actually gain tickets? I don't know if you lost a ticket every time you died in Domination. I never really paid attention to that, so hopefully that fixes a problem that was there. Next, it says that Conquest on Eduardovo actually receives a new unique layout that is separate from the 127 versus 127 playable area. So that's cool, sort of like a new map for 32v32 Conquest. Very, very cool there. I've never seen 32v32 Conquest though, to be honest. It's pretty much always Rush. So I don't know if anyone will ever get to play that. So next for Salhan The RU border has been extended on the west side, the cave exit, to make spawn camping more difficult. That's good, spawn camping sucks, so I've never actually had to deal with spawn camping before. My team's never been destroyed that hard, but good changes there. Fergus, the last stage of Rush, received changes allowing the attacking team to exit from the subway near the enemy spawn. That's good. I've actually had this thing where you get stuck in the damn subway system and you can't get out because you can't walk any further. So that's a good change right there. I mean, though I did see that apparently you can walk through like the barrier by lagging it out with your scoreboard or something, but anyways, don't exploit it or whatever. So next, Walkistan. The Domination 32v32 layout will now feature an east coastline layout. The old layout will be moved to 16v16, which 16v16 doesn't even exist, so that's interesting. I guess they're thinking about adding that soon. And that, I mean, it does exist in the game, but you know, there aren't actually any live games, at least that I know of. So now the number of players in enemy vehicles will no longer be shown on the map when they're spotted. That's good. That shouldn't be shown unless you can like see in the car or whatever, but still, like, it shouldn't show how many people are in the car. Not that that really mattered in these game modes. It's not like they're ranked or whatever, but good change there. When placing a wall, there will have to be more player space margin, so you can't really place the wall like directly onto yourself and like clip into it. So basically it's just making it so the placing walls works better and it doesn't clip. Good quality of life change right there. There's a small bug where people would not be able to switch their primary weapon when placing down a Claymore while throwing a grenade. Really weird, really niche, not really relevant to most people. Fixed an issue where the friends list would not load until the party menu was hovered over. That's a good change. I actually did have that where the friends list just wouldn't appear. Very frustrating. There's a couple other bug fixes that aren't that important. At the bottom though, it does say that the spectator camera was improved. That's pretty important. I don't know if you've tried spectating. I assume most people haven't, but spectating mode was a little bit janky. I don't know how much more improved it is, but it was janky before, so I'm glad that they're improving upon it. It needs a lot of love. It was really awkward to spectate people, and sometimes I wanted to spectate people just to, you know, I had a little inkling there, a little bit sus, but it wasn't a good viewing experience. So I'm glad that they're working on that. Hopefully they continue to improve that as well. So great patch notes all in all. Party codes, reporting players made easy, stat sync protection, objective capture zones, gadget persistence, all wonderful changes. Great update, version 1.8.1. I hope the devs keep it up. Let me know in the comments below if there are any changes that you're hoping the devs make. I know a lot of people want nerfs to the vector. I'm sure that they've been talking about it. I know that there was like a content creator meeting or something, well, that I wasn't invited to, but from what I've heard about the people who were, they did talk about the vector and maybe nerfing it or something. They were going to nerf SMGs actually. They were going to make it so that they're less accurate at longer ranges, which I think is a good change. So that should be coming. Thank you to my channel members, Jed, Hastrel, and Professor Oak. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more future updates. I will always make a video whenever there is an update or anything, so hit that notification bell to stay in the loop with all of that. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Good luck in your battles, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, y'all.